Ever feel like your mind is just going and going and going?
Yeah.
And like you can't ever really get off.
Yeah, definitely.
It's exhausting, right?
It is. It's tiring.
When Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, he talks about this and how to tap into like the amazing power of just like right now.
That's right.
And so today we're going to do a deep dive into this book, The Power of Now.
Okay, awesome.
We're going to try to distill it down into like 10 key takeaways.
Sounds good.
So it's like the 80-20.
Yeah.
So have you read this book?
I have, yeah. It's very impactful. It's actually been a global phenomenon.
Wow.
Millions and millions of people all over the world have read this book.
Oh, wow.
And they've used it to kind of guide them towards a more present and fulfilling life.
Nice.
And Tolle's own like journey of awakening is kind of woven throughout the book.
Cool.
Which makes it both deeply personal, but also universally relatable.
Awesome. Okay. So are you ready to jump into those 10 takeaways?
I am.
All right, let's do it. So takeaway number 1, you are not your mind.
That's a good one.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
And kind of a mind-blowing one when you really think about it.
Right, for sure.
Like suddenly realizing there's 2 of you.
Yeah. It's a foundational teaching for Tolle, this idea that we are not our mind.
Okay.
We very often kind of just get completely lost in our thoughts. And we think that those thoughts are us.
Right.
But there's a deeper I. There's a consciousness that is actually observing the mind.
Ooh.
And so it's kind of like, imagine your mind as a tool,
Okay.
like a smartphone or something.
Okay. I like that.
It can be incredibly useful, but if you become addicted to like, scrolling and notifications and all that stuff,
Right.
you miss out on like the richness of life.
Yeah. You totally miss out on everything that's actually going on around you.
Absolutely.
It's like being so engrossed in your phone that you'd like walk into a lamppost.
Totally. Yeah. You're there physically, but mentally you're completely checked out.
Right.
And so for Tolle, that's a huge part of it. Recognizing this distinction, like recognizing that there's an observer and there's something that's being observed.
Okay.
That's the first step towards actually having any power or control.
Okay.
And using the mind effectively instead of just being enslaved by it.
So it's more about being able to harness the power of the mind.
Yeah.
Rather than letting it run wild.
Exactly.
Right. Because 80 to 90% of our thoughts are just like chatter.
Yeah.
Like they're just useless.
Yeah. And they're often negative.
Right.
And they drag us down. And so this is a real opportunity to be able to quiet the mind and experience the benefits of that stillness.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so that's a good one.
It is a good one.
All right, so moving on to takeaway number 2.
Okay.
The now is the key.
Yes.
So this is interesting because a lot of spiritual traditions actually point to this present moment
Right.
as the gateway to enlightenment.
Yeah.
It's like, take no thought for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's from the Bible.
Yeah, but like, have you ever really sat and thought about what that means?
Yeah. It's very profound. It means that when we're present, we're freed from the suffering that's caused by always dwelling on the past.
Right.
Or worrying about the future.
Right, because like you said earlier, like 80 to 90% of those thoughts are either in the past or the future.
That's right.
So it's all about being present.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So now takeaway number 3.
Let's hear it.
This one's called the pain body.
Okay.
So this is a really interesting one.
Yeah.
Tolle describes it as an accumulation of old emotional pain
That's right.
that we kind of carry around within us.
It's like a shadow self.
Yeah.
Made up of past traumas, heartbreaks, negative experiences.
Right. It's like this energetic entity almost that feeds on negativity.
Yeah.
And then it can kind of hijack our thoughts.
Yeah, it really can. Think about a time when you saw someone's dark side for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
It can be kind of shocking.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a glimpse into that pain body.
Yeah.
But what's really important here is to be able to recognize that in ourselves,
Right.
not just in other people. Because that pain body can really control us.
Yeah, it can totally sabotage our relationships.
Absolutely.
Our careers.
Yes.
Our well-being.
If we're not aware of it.
If we're not aware of it, yeah.
And it can show up in a lot of different ways, like in our thoughts and our emotions.
So like, how do we even know if we have a pain body? Like, what are some of those thoughts or behaviors or whatever that we can look for?
Well, sometimes we might find ourselves like overreacting to certain situations.
Oh, yeah.
Or engaging in self-sabotaging behaviors.
Oh, yeah.
Those could be signs that the pain body is kind of in control.
Wow.
And it's all coming from this unresolved pain from the past.
Okay, so awareness is like the first step.
Yes.
We have to actually become aware
You got it.
that we have this pain body.
Right.
And then we need to understand how it works.
That's step 1.
Okay, and then like, how do we get rid of it?
Well, I mean, you don't really get rid of it. It's more about bringing it into the light of consciousness.
Ooh, yeah.
Like when we actually become aware of the pain body, then we have a choice
Okay.
to not identify with it.
Okay.
We can observe it without getting swept away
Okay.
by all its negativity.
So instead of saying like, I am angry,
yeah,
we say, I am observing this anger.
right.
That's arising.
Exactly. And that's a really powerful shift in perspective.
That is a subtle but powerful shift.
Because from that place of observation, you can respond
Yeah.
rather than just reacting impulsively
Right.
from that pain body.
Awesome. Okay, so now we're moving on to takeaway number 4.
Okay, bring it on.
The ego's search for wholeness.
Yeah, good one.
So this one totally suggests that the ego, you know, that voice in our head
Yeah,
that's always seeking validation,
yeah.
always like striving for more,
Yeah, it's never enough.
that it's actually on like a quest for wholeness.
That's right.
But it's like a misguided quest.
Yeah, very misguided. The ego believes that happiness and fulfillment lie outside of ourselves.
Right.
So it's always looking for it in possessions,
Right.
achievements, or other people's approval.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's constantly comparing,
Yeah.
judging,
Yeah.
seeking something it can never actually grasp.
Right. It's like that bottomless pit.
Yeah, great
You
analogy.
keep trying to fill it, but it's never full.
Yeah.
It's like trying to quench your thirst with salt water.
Right.
Like you just keep drinking, but you're just getting thirstier.
Yeah, you're only going to get thirstier. And that's what the ego does. It
Yeah.
keeps us in that cycle of dissatisfaction.
Right.
And the only way to find true fulfillment is to actually connect with our being,
Okay.
that wholeness that already exists.
Right.
Beyond the mind chatter.
Okay, cool. All right. So moving on to takeaway number 5.
Okay.
This one's called Escape from the Mind.
Yeah, this is a big one.
This is a big one.
A lot of us are kind of living in this state of ordinary unconsciousness. Ooh.
Where we're completely identified with our thoughts and emotions and reactions.
Right.
And we're totally on autopilot, just driven by these habitual patterns and beliefs.
Right. So Tolle actually mentions this observation.
Okay.
That was made by a Native American chief
Interesting.
who was basically just saying, like, white people are always seeking something. They're restless. They're uneasy.
Interesting.
They're striving.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't know what they want.
Right.
We think they're mad.
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a poignant observation, and I think it really reflects our culture.
It does.
This kind of collective unease
Yeah.
of modern civilization,
Yeah.
where we're so disconnected from this present moment,
Right.
so caught up in our minds and our desires,
Right.
that we've just completely lost touch
Right.
with the simple joy of being.
Totally.
And it's all because we're resisting the now.
Right.
We're resisting being present.
And that's what's causing the suffering.
Right. Okay, so how do we escape from the mind?
By cultivating presence,
Okay.
by shifting our attention
Okay.
from that incessant chatter
Right.
to the aliveness of this moment.
Whoa.
It's like we're waking up from a dream,
Yeah.
the dream of our thoughts,
Right.
and stepping into the reality
Yeah.
of our being.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's about recognizing that we are not our thoughts.
Right. Yeah.
We are the awareness that's observing those thoughts.
Right.
And from that space of awareness, we can access something much deeper,
Okay.
a place of peace and joy and true freedom.
Awesome. So that was takeaway number 5, escape from the mind.
Yes.
Okay, so now we're moving on to takeaway number 6,
All right.
the joy of being.
Ah, yes. This is a good one.
It is a good one. So this isn't about like chasing fleeting pleasures.
Right. It's not about that surface level happiness.
Yeah. It's about tapping into like a deeper wellspring of joy
Yes. It's a joy that comes from within.
that exists within each of us.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mhm.
So instead of seeking happiness in like external things,
Yeah.
it's about cultivating a sense of joy that's independent of circumstances.
You got it.
That sounds incredible, like so liberating,
It is. It really is.
but also kind of abstract.
Yeah.
How do we access this joy of being, like in practical terms?
Yeah.
What do we do?
Well, it starts with really shifting our focus away from the mind
Okay.
and towards the present moment.
Okay.
When we let go of all that mental chatter, the worries, the to-do lists,
Right.
we create space for something much deeper to emerge.
Okay.
A sense of peace and contentment.
It's like stepping off that hamster wheel
Yeah, exactly.
and being able to finally breathe
Yes.
and appreciate what's around us.
Absolutely. It's about savoring those simple things.
Yeah.
The warmth of the sun on your skin, the taste of a delicious meal,
Right.
the sound of laughter.
Yeah.
It's about being fully present in each moment without judgment or resistance.
I love that. Okay, so that leads us perfectly into takeaway number 7.
All right. What is it?
Find the life underneath your life situation. What a powerful concept.
It really is.
So what exactly does that mean?
It's about recognizing that there's a distinction between our external circumstances,
Okay.
which are always in flux, and the essence of life itself,
Okay.
which is eternally present.
So it's like realizing that even amidst like the chaos of our daily lives,
Yeah.
there's this underlying stillness and peace
Yes, exactly.
that we can always access.
That's always there.
Wow.
Our life situation might be full of challenges, right?
Right.
But life itself is always unfolding perfectly
Yeah.
in this moment.
In this moment, yes.
And so it's about learning to appreciate the beauty and the wonder of existence,
I love that.
even amidst the ups and downs.
So it's like shifting our perspective from what's wrong
Right.
to what's right.
Yeah.
Finding that extraordinary in the ordinary.
Exactly.
I love that. Okay, speaking of shifting perspectives, takeaway number 8 is one that initially surprised me.
Oh, really? What is it?
The body as a portal.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So we often think of the body as something separate from our spiritual selves.
Right.
But Tolle suggests it can actually be a gateway to enlightenment.
That's right. A lot of spiritual traditions have actually focused on transcending the body,
Right.
trying to get beyond it.
Yeah.
But Tolle really emphasizes the importance of embodiment.
Okay.
He sees the body as a powerful tool
Okay.
for anchoring ourselves in the present moment.
So it's about like tuning into the sensations of the body.
Exactly.
Like the breath,
Yeah.
the heartbeat,
Mhm.
the feeling of our feet on the ground.
Yes. All of that.
Okay.
By becoming aware of those sensations, we shift our attention away from the mind's chatter
Right.
and connect with a deeper sense of presence.
Okay.
The body's always in the now.
Okay.
It's our mind that pulls us out of it,
Right.
into the past or the future.
So it's like we're using the body as an anchor
Exactly.
to keep us from drifting away in the current of our thoughts.
You got it. That's a great way to put it.
Okay, cool. So now we're on to takeaway number 9.
All right. What's number 9?
This one can be a bit tricky for some people.
Oh, really?
Acceptance and surrender.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
That is a big one. So first of all, we have to understand that surrender does not mean giving up.
Right. It doesn't mean becoming passive.
No. It's about accepting what is.
Exactly.
Without resisting.
No resistance.
It's about letting go of the need to control and allowing life to unfold.
Yeah, to unfold naturally as it will.
So it's about trusting the flow of life.
Exactly.
Even when things feel uncertain or challenging.
Even when things are tough.
Okay.
Yeah. Because when we surrender, we open ourselves up to something much bigger.
Okay.
A deeper wisdom, a higher power that can guide us and support us.
It reminds me of that saying, go with the flow.
Yeah.
But it's not just about going with the flow. It's about embracing the flow.
Exactly. Even when it feels turbulent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even when it's tough.
Okay. So acceptance and surrender.
Big one.
Big one. Okay. So now we've come to the final takeaway.
Wow. Okay.
Let's hear it.
Takeaway number 10.
Right.
Transforming suffering into peace.
Another really powerful one.
This is a powerful one. So Tolle talks about these like really challenging life events.
Yeah.
He calls them limit situations.
Okay.
And he suggests that these limit situations can actually be catalysts for spiritual growth.
That's right. They force us to confront our deepest fears and attachments.
It's like those stories you hear about people facing death.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they find this incredible peace and acceptance.
Exactly. It's like the imminence of death kind of shatters all their illusions.
Right.
And allows them to see what really matters.
Wow.
And for Tolle, these limit situations can go either way. They
Okay.
can either intensify our suffering or they can trigger a profound awakening.
So it depends on us.
It depends on our willingness to surrender.
So it's not about like avoiding or denying suffering. It's about like transforming our relationship with suffering.
Exactly. When we resist suffering, we just create more pain for ourselves.
Yeah.
But when we surrender, we allow a deeper level of awareness to emerge.
Okay.
And from that space of awareness, suffering can be transformed into peace
Wow.
and even joy.
So even the darkest experiences can be opportunities for growth and transformation.
That's the beauty of the power of now.
Wow.
It offers a path to liberation, not by escaping from life's challenges, but by embracing them fully and finding that wisdom and peace that lie within them.
Incredible. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah.
But there's still one more key takeaway from the book that I want to explore. Okay, so this last takeaway, it's kind of a mind bender.
Oh, really?
It's pretty powerful, and it ties everything together really nicely.
Yeah.
It's about this idea of conscious death.
Conscious death.
Yeah, so what Tolle says is that that moment of physical death, it's not really an ending. It's more like a transition. It's like passing through a portal.
Like those near-death experiences people talk about. Like
Yeah.
seeing a bright light and feeling overwhelming peace.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And Tolle believes that this portal, it's available to everyone.
Okay.
But he says that most people miss it.
Miss it.
Yeah. How do you miss death?
Yeah, right.
Right.
You'd think it'd be kind of hard to miss.
Yeah, but he's saying that people miss it
Interesting.
because they haven't cultivated enough presence in their lives.
Yeah, okay.
They're still clinging to their identities,
Right.
their fears, their attachments to the physical world.
They haven't learned to let go.
Yeah, so it's like they're too preoccupied with the past and the future
Yeah.
to really embrace the present moment, even in death.
Wow. That's a really profound point.
Yeah, it really highlights how the power of now,
Yeah.
it's not just about like living a happier life. It's also about preparing for a conscious and graceful death.
It's like a dress rehearsal for death.
The more we can cultivate presence and acceptance in our everyday lives, the more prepared we'll be for that final transition.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's the real power of living in the now, I think. It's not just about this fleeting happiness.
Right.
It's about a fundamental shift in consciousness.
Yeah.
A way of being that allows us to embrace life and death with equanimity.
I love that.
Oh.
Okay, so, wow, I think we've given everyone a lot to think about today.
I think so too.
The power of now, it really offers a radical perspective on life.
It does.
Death and everything in between.
Yeah.
So what do you think is like the most important message that people can take away from our deep dive today?
For me, it's this realization that true freedom lies in surrendering to this moment.
Yeah.
When we let go of that need to control everything, when we accept what is, that's when we open ourselves to this incredible well of peace and joy that's always available to us no matter what our circumstances might be.
Beautifully said. And to everyone listening, if you're feeling inspired to explore this book, The Power of Now, further, I highly recommend picking it up.
It's a really good read.
It's a journey that can truly transform your life.
It can.
From the inside out.
Imagine a world where everyone embraced the wisdom of the power of now.
Yeah.
A world filled with presence and acceptance and peace.
That would be amazing.
What a beautiful world that would be.
It's a vision worth striving for. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thank you.
Into the power of now. Until next time, stay present, stay curious.
Yes.
And keep exploring the depths of your own being.